All right. Party people in the place to be, vandals, and everybody else lurking out there in the darkness. This is a brand new episode of How Do We Get Here? And tonight we're talking to an extra special guest, somebody that we think is just an up and comer that like everybody needs to know about. We are talking to Mr. Wesley Griffith. And Wesley, go ahead and introduce yourself and kind of explain what you do to the people.
Sure. Hi, my name is Wesley Griffith. I'm a cartoonist and a graphic designer, and I write, draw, design, and letter and color all my comic books that are completely creator owned by me, and they are available on my Big Cartel shop, Wesley Griffith shop.bigcartel.com, and the one that I'm currently working on serializing issue by issue is called The Jump. It is a crime comic.
Yeah, it's some good stuff.
Right. And we already have a question. Rob wants to know, do you ever record videos of your process on Twitch or any kind of live stream of you like drawing? Do you ever do that?
I remember during when I made my martial arts comic, Thunder Beast. I remember doing that sometimes, but then um, I don't know. I just kind of stopped because I felt like it was getting in the way of finishing pages. I was more thinking about I was like, oh, like is the camera angle looking right, or thinking about is this boring for like an audience to view? Because like my inking process isn't really exciting because I usually am doing it with like these Copic
Hmm.
markers. It's not like if you were to watch I don't know, like there's videos of like John Romita senior drawing that are like it's like really sexy because he's got like a brush and all that stuff. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I wish it was more exciting to view. So I'm long answer, no, not really.
But
Mm.
you mostly do traditional inks though, huh? So
Yep.
your drawing style is traditional. Like you don't do too much digital.
No, well, there's a lot of digital later. I can actually show you right now. I'm in the middle of a page right now. Like initially, like I'll do everything in pencil and blue line, and then
Blue line.
ink it through with um, whatever different Copic marker. Sometimes I'll use the brush and stuff. Like there's some the first two issues of the Jump that you guys that are
Hmm.
available that you guys reviewed. There's some like dry brush stuff in there, like on the close-ups of like Frank's eye and
The
whatnot.
eyes, yeah, yeah, you could
And
see it in
then
the. Mhm.
once those like 11 by 17 art boards are done, I'll scan them and then put them in the computer, and then just spend some time on Photoshop cleaning them up and getting them print and digitally ready and whatnot.
Rob's also asking, production-wise, how long does it take you to make, like, let's say, a single issue of a comic, or time-wise?
Man, way longer than I want it to be. Um, I just, yeah, I have a day job and
Day
everything,
job.
and
Hmm.
there's all there's stuff to do around with life and the house and whatnot. So, uh, boy, the thing that's cool though is are good for that I started getting in the habit of doing is once any page is finished inking, I'll put the date on it. So I could let me think here. So I started the Jump #1 as soon as I moved here, like in August of 2023, and I want to say that first issue, like the last page, got done around like Halloween time. So like that one issue of the Jump that was 24 pages. That took me, uh,
What
man,
months?
yeah, months. Yeah.
No, but that's pretty good for considering you have a day job and you do it like during your free time and stuff. I mean, I know people that have day jobs and make comics like that, and they're lucky if they can get an issue out every 6 months, right? So
Yeah,
I think it sounds like you're pretty efficient with the time you have to dedicate to it.
yeah, it's like I don't know. I went into the the jump with like one particular thing in mind to like speed things up. Like one, making it a black and white comic. Two, having the 6-panel grid be like that the layout for every page, like from the get go. Because I also was thinking about, like, I had gotten in the habit of posting comics individually, panel by panel, to Instagram, and I thought, like, if every page is a 6-panel grid, then like formatting that for Instagram will just make it like so much easier, instead of having to,
Mm,
I don't know, think and consider like the different shapes and how they're going to look on that that format.
okay, yeah. Oh, got Daniel in the chats as well. Your comics are amazing. What and or who were your biggest influences?
As to the what, it's funny. So the episode you guys did, just because I've been really busy, me and my girlfriend literally just watched it like this
Yeah.
afternoon, because I was like, oh man, like I don't want to be a jerk. Like I should watch it before doing this and stuff. So like we we were watching it, and man, like you guys were really right on the money when you mentioned manga. That's like a big what. The initial pages being read at the beginning, that was just something I always like liked, and I thought was not weird, but unique, I guess is the better word, to manga, that I really enjoyed. And I thought, well, there's no reason not to do that in American comics. Let's give that a shot. Like, and
Mhm.
who? I guess I'll name another. Like, I don't know. Like, I remember being in 6th grade, and I got a copy of like, or I back in the day when like Viz would do their like Viz graphic novels of
Mm,
like flipped manga. I got a hold of like uh, Blackjack by Tezuka. I really like Tezuka a lot. His stuff like blows my mind.
Yeah, man.
have you ever considered doing a comic in more the digest, kind of like the manga size or a digest size, the smaller format?
I kind of messed around like so I keep these like zines around
Yeah.
because I don't know, I'm addicted to printing things, and I have like a little small like digital brother printer, and I what did I pick up? There was like a
That looks good in black and white with just on the colored paper, man. That is,
Ash
I
can.
love that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's funny. I was like running low on toner too, so like as it printed, like the quality of the black was getting shittier and shittier,
Okay.
and I was like, oh wait, I like this.
Yeah.
This is how this should look. Um, but
Yeah.
sorry, what were we talking about? Oh, anyway, yeah. So I did this. I do these like at this size to keep them handy. Actually, as I'm
Mhm.
working on new pages, so that I can go back and refer to them instead of grabbing like
Okay.
the art
Yeah.
boards. It's just like it's handier that way. I think I had I was at a comic book store, and I found like this really weird digest size of like that Italian comic Diabolic, and it was like
Okay.
this size, and I was like, what size is this? And I took out my ruler and I measured it, and I was like, all right, write that down, and like I'm gonna print something like at that
What is it?
size
Is it
font.
like on legal, so they just fold it in half? Is that it, just to make it more cost efficient, or?
No,
Uh,
it was like a what's the word? It was like a perfect bound book. It was a lot of pages, but I just liked the size of it, and I thought it would be perfect for like a stapled zine size.
yeah, we have a friend Manu who does makes his own comics too, and he does like, I can't remember the exact size, but when he went to the printers, they're like, if you choose this size, we can, to the paper stock we have, it makes it more efficient, and it
Yeah,
made it just cheaper. He could print more pages like that for cheaper, and that's why he chose that size to try to make his comics as affordable as possible for people. And because he does the perfect bound as well, his comics are usually what Johnny, you'd say about 80, 100 pages.
Yeah, I'd say probably around 120, all said and done with the back matter. I think as to how
Yeah,
big his little
yeah,
traits are.
yeah, and that's he picked that size just for cost efficiency, to try to make get the best price point possible for his books. Yeah. Mm.
All
How
right,
can your
so
fans support you besides buying your comics? Have you, well, Have you thought about a Patreon? Oh, do you have a Patreon? I didn't see a Patreon listed anywhere.
I don't have a Patreon. I need to do my homework on how Patreons work. Yeah, I mean, I'm not opposed to the idea. And as for selling original art, I'm not yet. I'm still really attached to all my original art. I want to hang on to it for a minute.
Mm.
And that's
Oh,
respectable.
But so far, like, yeah, if you want to support it, please, just, yeah, like, buy the books. Like, I'm more jazzed on like people like owning physical copies of like my work more than anything.
yeah.
That's like, I don't know, that's like the real thing to me. Like, I don't know, like or like that discovery, or like someone handing it to their friends and be like, hey, I think you'll like really dig this, you know?
Mm.
Uh, I gotta agree. Like there is a very strong European influence to your books. Like I'm not I don't know Italian per se, but like some French guys it kind of really reminds me of is Jordi Barnet or like Jacques Tiardet. Like they kind of do like the cartoonist style, like you like yours, but like very violent, very graphic. Jordi Barnet, he's most known for Torpedo. Like that's
Oh,
the
okay. I was just about to ask, like, can you name names of their titles? Because like it's I like it, when like it gets to like names of like French cartoonists and they're not Mobius. I feel like such a dick. Like, sorry if there's any French listeners right now. Like, but I like they all like it's just it's hard for me to remember them.
and I'm probably pretty bad at pronouncing their names. Like Joe is a French Canadian. He's probably if he was able to say see their names, he could probably like Jordi Barnet. Like it is it's to say it like an American. His name would be Jordi Barnett. Is how it's spelled. Barnett.
Yeah.
So wait, that one fella, he's the author of Torpedo, and then the other gentleman you mentioned, what's some of his work?
New York Mon Amour, like a sniper lining up a shot. He
Ooh.
yeah, he does like really kind of noir type stuff. They both do for the most part. Like that's what a lot of Eurographic novels are. They like to stay within the realms of pulp, like kind of you do. You know, like that's another thing I really enjoy about your books is like they all kind of skirt around the lens of pulp. You got your noir books, you got your kind of more fantasy oriented stuff, and you kind of got your really fun sci-fi too that pops up in grotesque. So
Mhm.
you're very well rounded, but like I love that you love to play around in the pulp areas most of all.
Yeah, that's just, I don't know. Those are the comics that I always like just enjoyed looking at. Like I don't know, like it's I remember one time my girlfriend's asking like, you ever thought about doing like an autobio comic? I was like, hell no, like absolutely no, thank you. Um, what were we talking about? It's there was I'm gonna grab it right here actually. There
Yep.
was a long time ago, like in 2018, I found a bunch of work on on like Tumblr. The last days of me being on Tumblr, actually, of this Italian guy named like Roberto Raviola, and he did this thing where he like worked in like specifically like a 2-panel grid. And at the time, being like really lazy, I was like, "Oh my god, you can get away with doing a comic with just 2 panels? That'd be great. That'd be so cool to try." And he had this one guy named he had a superhero named like Criminal with a K, and he was just like a skull dude that like, I don't know, as far as I can understood, like from it was he was just a skeleton guy that like had a, a gun and stuff. I don't know. He seemed like some sort of like a diabolic type. I thought that was really cool, so I wanted to try that with that one.
Nice, yeah. What book does that show up in? Is that Destroy
Oh,
All
sorry.
Galaxy? Or
That's in All Kinds of Hell. This was a very early like horror anthology that I put together. This was a pandemic book actually, because we were all stuck inside in 2020, and I was like, man, I have all this like comic stuff that like I drew and scanned and had digital copies of, but I never printed any of it. And then uh had like I was like, well, shit, I know how to print and make like zines and stuff. Let me give that a try. So that was like the first attempt of doing that. This All Kinds of Hell is kind of the start of like my work being in print, comic work anyway.
So on your big cartel store, like if we buy copies of your books, that's what we get, the ash can self the ones that you saddle yourself and stuff like that.
I actually need to update that because the all kinds of hell that's available on my big cartel store, I don't know if I'm gonna be reprinting it. It was like I did another version of it that was like an 8.5 by 11 like magazine size, and it's like on glossy paper. I printed them through Blurb, that one like print on demand site. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I guess I'll reprint them if more people want to buy them. That one just goes kind of slow out
Okay.
of out of everything.
I really like that style of printing. So like
Yeah.
it's gotten me even more interested in buying more of your stuff off your big cartel.
Sure. Yeah. No, I just need to make a listing for it, and then once I do, I'll let you know.
Cool. Yeah, like you were saying, on the jump, your first few pages or couple of pages are color, and that's what I liked about Grotesque, because that's one of your books that's full color.
Hmm.
And I love how each story you take a slightly different approach to your coloring, to give it a different feel and tone. So people who enjoyed your coloring from the jump, if they haven't read Grotesque, they should go out and pick that one up, because then they get to see you play around with colors and stuff, and it makes for some. And it's like an anthology style short stories, so it's really fun. You get to see a lot of variety in it, and I really enjoyed that. It was pretty cool.
I literally came about because I came very, very late to the party like 2 years ago. Fantagraphics released that big collection of 8 Ball 1 through 18, and I was like,
Mm.
I'm finally gonna fucking read this thing. And then I did, and I was like, well, I want to make a one-man anthology. That sounds like it'd be really like fun to do. And I don't know, like that's kind of how Grotesque came about.
And so we were right, man. Like I knew, like this issue one cover, man, it looks so much like an 8 Ball cover. You were homaging it straight up. Okay.
Yeah, when we were like, yeah, it's funny. Like there were moments when me and my girlfriend were watching that initial video, we were like, you guys would say something, and then just like like I don't know, like just being an ass to myself, I was just like, ding, 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 like yeah, like you got that one right, got that one right. Yeah, it was cool. You guys are, um, yeah, right on the money.
We like our comics, so Johnny and I together, we can pretty much figure most things out. We're
Yeah.
not not the sharpest tools in the shed, but we got the pretty good base for when it comes to that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Uh, I
Matthew
oh
says he can't wait to meet you on the 9th. He's gonna, I guess you're gonna be at a signing or something that you're doing. That should be rad. But like he wants to know, if you get the jump turned into a movie, who would you want to star in it and direct it? If you thought of such things.
I don't know. I haven't really.
Depends which comic you're talking about, Matt. If you're talking about the Jump or uh, Beast Champion, I mean it's kind of different takes there. So I don't know.
I'll say this though, because you guys had me. You talked about Michael Shannon playing Ben in
Yes.
in a live action adaptation. That character is so his appearance is like kind of loosely based on like Harvey Pekar, but then as an actor that I always really loved, like was Michael Ironside.
Okay.
Mm,
From
yeah.
Starship Troopers and like Scanners and
Mm,
Total Recall. He was a guy I kind of was thinking of like when
yeah.
thinking of that character.
That's cool.
I'm pretty sure it's just at your
So,
store right now, right? I don't think you're through Diamond or anything yet.
No, nothing like that yet.
I mean, I think it's just a matter of time
Yeah,
before
just a matter of
people
time.
show interest and you get some opportunities for that. Because as a cartoonist, I gotta say, man, your stuff is fantastic. I mean, one man show, to put out the speed you put it out and the quality, and not only of the art but the story. I mean, top notch stuff. Like Johnny and I both loved it. Another friend that that comes on the show, one of our other cast members, Adrian, he really dug your stuff, and perchance he just saw your stuff on Instagram, and he DM'd me. He's like, "Yo, dude, have you seen this shit?" I was like, "Yeah, Johnny found it, and he sent it to me." So we're supposed to be reading it and maybe do an episode or something. So it's like we fast tracked doing the episode for the jump, and and Johnny reached out to you, and man, here we are.
That's
How
very
to get here? That's how we got here, man. And it's a pleasure to have you on. Like,
yeah.
so,
No, I'm glad to be here. You guys were it was really cool to listen to. It's interesting, like, yeah, like hearing you, Johnny, you were talking about like global comics. I really enjoy, like, I hope like more cool stuff shows up there, because like I had tried posting to other sites. Like I remember like going to like Webtoon, because I thought that was like
mm,
sort of the more popular of that kind of website. Because I don't know, I just feel like the more I'm not stingy about giving like my stuff out for free. I just want people to see it and read it and hopefully
mhm,
uh, enjoy it. And yeah, I remember like kind of seeing Webtoon and being like, oh, I don't know if this is like quite the place for my work. But Global Comics so far, I really enjoy like going through
mhm,
them.
I like it. I like the social media aspect of it. It's a little more it's kind of like how Patreon is, but like you don't have to pay to be there to talk to the creator and tell them what you liked about the issue or whatnot. It's got that same type of feedback, and yeah, I just like being able to comment on it and be able to talk to you guys when you put out a new piece. It's a really kind of fun format, I think, for comic creators and fans to kind of talk with one another. And I found you, and I found Pierre. I found a couple really interesting one of a kind creators in this modern sphere of things, and I think that it should be a format that a lot of more people try to embrace, because there's a lot of fun stuff on there. There's a lot of samey stuff, but like that you're going to get that from the comic book shop too. So like
mhm.
and like almost everybody has most of their stuff for free on Global Comics. I mean, I want to push your big cartel as much as possible, but like almost everything you have done is available on your Global Comics, and man, all of it's worth checking out, man. Thunder,
Oh,
yeah, before you buy it, and that's the best way to look at it, man. If you like it, then purchase
yeah.
it, because I mean, Thunder Beast is such a great comic. I mean, we kept going on and on about the Jump, but dude, Thunder Beast is just as good on its own little level, and yeah, I think that anybody that enjoys Adult Swim stuff should really get into Thunder Beast. It's kind of yeah, Venture Brothers meets the Fist of the North Star, I guess
Oh
you could
God,
say.
man, I miss Venture Brothers so much. That show is so great. I watched the movie recently. The Radiant
Yeah.
is the blood of the baboon heart, and I was like sad when it was over. I'm like, fuck, I'm not getting any more.
Mm.
They said that they might do graphic novels for future stories that they might want to tell.
Oh,
I think
okay,
that's
yeah.
it. Yeah, that's what Doc Savage or whatever his name was saying. He might do some graphic novels out of it, but
What is
that's
that dude's name? It's not Doc Savage.
Doc
Doc Hammer, right?
Doc Hammer and Jason Public. Yeah, are the two
Yeah.
guys. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Mm.
But that movie was great though, man. Like after all these years, at least it was good to get that. You
Yeah,
know?
I always had like such a tough time like recommending that show to like uh like nerd friends of mine, and I was like, no dude, like this is like for us. You just kind of got to get through that like first season that's like where they haven't figured it out yet.
Yeah. Well, the first season had some great stuff too, like the Brisbee Dome, and like there was, but yeah, it was a little more rough than the rest of the show. But yeah, I
Yeah.
completely agree.
Who put that out? Was that Adult Swim that originally
Yeah,
put that out? Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah, it was
man, I
really, really
remember when that like pilot, that flash animated pilot like aired on Adult Swim, and I was like, "Oh, this is so like," cuz I grew up loving Johnny Quest and stuff like that. I'm a big Alex Toth fan.
But for Thunder Beast, you were able to get some pretty good support, like Floating World Comics, or no, Way Blue World put you in the Santos Sisters. You got a couple pretty good recs out of that. How were you able to pull that one off?
I follow Santos Sisters and Greg and Fix Instagram, and when that's all them. Like, they are so fucking cool and generous. They put it out like basically that like through their social media that they were doing a thing where if you uh, like, you know, paid them $25 and like gave them a graphic of whatever your creative project was, they would run an ad of it in Santos Sisters, whichever one was coming out. And at the time, the second or third one was coming out, and I reached out to them, and they, you know, uh, they did that, and it was really cool. I got to meet them in person recently, and they were really nice. Yeah,
And
man. That, speaking of favorite comics, that's like the best superhero comic that's like out right now. Period.
I got to get into it, man. A lot of people have been really recommending it to me. My buddy,
If you like Venture Brothers and that like humor, I don't know. It's not quite the same humor as Venture Brothers, but it's just, I don't know. I think it's super funny.
yeah. I mean, like it seems like I know that another buddy of ours, James Edward Clark, likes it a lot, and like I know kind of his sense of humor. So yeah, I am pretty sure.
Yeah.
I'll
Oh man, speaking of another rock star, James Edward Clark is also like one of my favorite artists out there right now.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff. Yeah. Is have you read Pissant Apocalypse?
I need to get my copy. I'm gonna buy that soon.
Yeah, it's good stuff, man. Fun book, really fun book.
Yeah.
Hey Joe, you had a big question for Wesley about music. And
yeah, that's what I'm going to look at.
Okay, yeah, I wanted to clarify this because my friend will kill me if I don't. I am not a musician at all. The Saturn III, that is like one of my best friends. That's his group. We've been friends for a very, very long time. And those designs for those astronauts are his concept. He just wanted me to draw them, and
draw them.
Yeah. That's all his baby.
I looked into it and I couldn't find much information on it, so I was like, man,
no,
you know,
I was
there's not much out there for you either, like personal like info. So I was like, is this like kind of a side project? And he's super secretive about all his stuff, so it's all like
that's all my buddy Dan, and he has another he like I don't know, like the way I am with my comics, he is with his music. He is like a very, very talented musician, has many different projects, and one of which is called Wormfur. That's WURMFUR, and they're really a fantastic group as well. He's the drummer for.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll have to go check that out because I listened to some of the stuff on Spotify.
Yeah, when he posted the story with the Saturn III song, I was like, "Holy shit! They did their homework."
Yeah, I was like, "All right." Then I went on Instagram. I was like, "Man, dude," because there isn't much there for the Saturn III, right? I think they have like a few singles and stuff, like maybe 4 or 5 songs. So I'm like, I wonder if they have it in Instagram. And I was like, oh shit, yeah, they do. So I was like, perfect. I'll add that to the stories because you had that little ad at the end of the second issue of the Jump, and that's how I noticed that. I picked up on it. I was like, oh, cool. I'll go check that out and see if there's any connection. I knew because on the Bandcamp they credit you for like the artwork, but that and like your friend, how he composed and wrote all the songs, right? And those are the only 2 credits. So I was like, there's 3 dudes in the band, so I don't know if Wesley was like one of the other. And it's all guys wearing like goggles, and they all have beards. So I was like, he could be one of them. I can't tell, you know.
Yeah, no, that's so funny. I didn't think about it that way, but yeah, no, that's like that's their thing, and I don't know.
That's cool. So you did the work. That's why I was curious. I was like, I don't know if he's part of it or if he just did the artwork. I knew it was one or the other or both. So
I'm just a very very good friend to the founder and lead singer, guitarist of that band. He's a very old dear friend of mine.
Very cool. Very cool. I just want to track back just real quick to Global Comics. I really appreciate that you put your stuff out there because I live in Canada, and like international shipping has gotten like so expensive. So I really appreciate it when indie guys, because I love indie books, and like this book is fantastic. Like everyone should own it. Like, if you can go buy a copy physically, I highly recommend to do it because it's a beautiful book, and I'm sure it looks even better in your hands, being able to flip the pages and stuff. And I just really appreciate that you put it out there on Global Comics because it can get for when you have a budget, it could be prohibitive, like paying the shipping for single issues and stuff. It can get pretty expensive. So I really appreciate that someone like you will put it out there so that, like you said, all you want is like as many people to read it as possible. And like, I really appreciate that, man.
Yeah, and I'm always open to like I don't know, like working out, because I know like the big Cartel site doesn't, like, I don't know, I found out recently that like sometimes that it won't, like it will only like work for someone ordering within the US. So I kind of put it out on social media recently, just being like, if anyone's outside the US and like wants to DM me and work out like a PayPal or like Venmo situation to get like my comics in your hands, then like I'm more than happy to do that, because I prefer someone having the physical thing. Like I want people to smell my work, you know.
Yeah. Are you keeping like your original pages for, like, do you plan on going to conventions anytime soon, or is that something you're planning on, or have you
I'm
even
just a
thought about
hoarder.
it?
I don't know. Like I like saving it to save it, and like, you know, hopefully like if they become like more lucrative and valuable in the future, like great. But for the time being, they're like, I don't know. I spent a long fucking time like working on them, so like I'm gonna hang on to them.
So they're precious to you for now.
Yeah, exactly.
Till you blow up, and
who knows,
till you
maybe I'll
blow up.
like it.
Yeah, you don't have any more room to put them. You're like, damn. Then you're like, the girlfriend or the wife's like, yeah, we got to figure something out here, because either you sell them or we have to get a bigger place, which costs more. So it's like, balancing the two things out.
Yeah, we'll see when we get there.
Yeah.
Dang, there was something else I was gonna say, but I forgot. Sorry, we can keep
That's
going
all right.
now.
How long do you plan on? How many issues do you think the Jump's going to run for? Just wondering. Do you have an estimate?
I don't really. What I do have is I know how it's going to end. So like when I initially like wrote the thing, this outline here is basically the entirety of the story, and then just as I go through it like issue by issue, I sketch everything out like
like a storyboard kind of,
basically like a notepad to get like compositions and like the beats of everything before I like go into the 11x17 artboards and do it that way. Yeah, I don't know, like I think ideally I think like 10 would be like a cool number to reach, but not sure yet.
And you're working it all off of a simple treatment, man. That's amazing. That's actually hella cool.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. They're like, specific things like as I'm going that like I'll add to it. Like actually recently, it's funny, issue 3 of the Jump was gonna be like a 32 was gonna be a 32 page comic, but then I like kind of like 2 days ago in the morning, I thought like, wait a minute, there needs to be a gunfight here. So that became that'll be 36 pages now.
Okay.
Yeah, we dig your gunfight scenes, man. So if you throw those in there, man, you won't hear any complaints from us.
Yeah, well, gotta it's a crime comic. You gotta keep things like exciting and moving.
Yeah. Just this here, I have a bone to pick with you here, because your character named Joey gets fucking blasted in the face, man. I take offense to that. No, it's great stuff, though, man. Love it. Yeah. No, I'm just kidding.
But I gotta tell you, man, the hype is real. I cannot wait to see what happens next in the Jump, man. I need to know what happens with Frank and man, what's her name? Like, she's in the car with
Jan,
yeah, and her baseball boyfriend and his OnlyFans girls, I guess. Like all that stuff, man. Like I'm invested, bro. Like I can't wait to see where it goes.
Likewise.
Yeah. So you've already started on issue 3, or how's it going with that issue so far?
As of today, I started inking page 12 of issue 3.
Wow. So you're almost halfway there. That's pretty good.
About a third. If you're doing 36, about a third.
Nice, good stuff. Man, you're pretty efficient with your pages then, because you just dropped about a month ago, the second issue. You released it about a month ago, or
3 weeks? I don't even know. It's been a whole month, man.
I don't, man. Yeah, it's funny. Like, I think so. Because then I also think about like when. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I'm confusing with when I finished drawing the last page.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
before Christmas. And I was like, no, it was longer ago than that. But then, yeah. But then
The
it
actual
takes even
release.
longer for the physical copies to arrive to me.
But it was pretty awesome. I just discovered issue 1, and like you're like, yeah, 2's coming out. I'm running the pages right now on my Instagram if you want to read them. I'm like, hell yeah, I do. And
yeah, that would I don't know. I wonder, like, sometimes I'm like, oh, what if I what if I waited like for there to be like more issues available and then like put them out. But then I don't know, I get impatient. Like once I kind of finish something, I kind of get just be like, I want people to see it. Like I don't know. That was like kind of a not a problem, but like something with Thunder Beast that was when I was working on that. I had always intended that to be like a graphic novel with 3 chapters, even though like there was never like issues released for like the 3 of them. And like really the jump was kind of like an exercise to do like, let me do like an issue by issue thing, because I hadn't done that with like one story as opposed to like Grotesque, which is like an anthology approach. This is the first time with the jump that I've ever done like anything that was just like a serialized periodical, I guess is a word to call it.
The one thing maybe you forgot you wanted to bring up was I asked you about conventions original art, but we didn't touch on the conventions thing.
Thank you. That totally was it. There's one coming up that I'm going to be going to, the Indie Comics Creator Con on March 9th in New Haven, Connecticut.
Oh, in Connecticut. Okay.
Yeah. But I don't know. You brought up the original art thing. I've been debating whether or not to bring original pages to it for people to see. I don't know if that would be cool or not, with like no intention of selling it though.
You'll probably get some crazy offers. People would be like, how much? And you're like, it's not for sale. $300. They'd be like, well, I guess I could sell it for 300 a page. You could always do commissions though if you don't want to sell your original art to the issues. You could always do commissions of the characters.
Yeah, like it's also like a packing thing, because I'm like, okay, I'm bringing all this Thunder Beast, I'm bringing all this jump, all this Grotesque, and then like I don't know, and it's gonna be like a separate suitcase. I'm like really worried. I'm like, please God, don't let like that suitcase get lost when I check it in and stuff. So we'll see. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Well, so that's coming up soon.
Yeah. What is that? 2 weeks from now?
Roughly, yeah. The 9th? Yeah, probably almost exactly 2 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's
will it be your first con, or have you already done some in the past?
I did a book fair thing in San Diego, but this will be like a first like comic con,
related.
Yeah, so yeah.
Cool, man. Hey, the best of luck. I hope you have a good turnout. Sell tons of books. Yeah, probably get a lot of new fans because your book is fantastic. So I'm sure people that aren't familiar will probably come by your table, pick it up, and I'm sure you'll get a bunch of new fans going there.
I hope so. Like I'm really glad that you guys picked up on like the we're complimenting the design. That's something like I really take like seriously. Like my background as a design major is to, and I love book design specifically, and like so I'm very intent on making sure to get a cover that like grabs the reader like right away.
Yeah,
They
that
do,
pop.
man. Yeah, you're particularly good at it, and yeah, this issue one of the Jump especially, but yeah, like the Thunder Beast cover just really grabs you, and yeah, I see you moving a lot of these, man. Like
Are yeah. Are you a like a car guy or like classic vehicles? Because motorbikes, you draw a mean car, you draw a mean van. I mean, you're pretty good at drawing vehicles. So like I don't think I've seen an issue you've done where you haven't put a vehicle in it yet.
Man, I'm a car guy like aesthetically, but I know nothing about them other than like I think they look cool, and but
Yeah.
then like I'm not even that like I don't know like knowledgeable of them really like but I I mean I am for this book in the sense like where I want like for the bad guy gang that's like cruising up in issue 2 of the Jump. Like I knew I wanted like a very specific muscle car that wasn't a
Hmm.
Firebird. When I came
Hmm.
across a what's the name of it? The Plymouth Barracuda. I thought,
Okay.
okay, that's the car that the bad guys drive.
Yeah.
It has to be that.
Yeah. But also, man, Johnny, go back. Put the one where she's cruising. I think that was 2 back there. The one
Oh,
where she's
Thunderbeast,
cruising.
that's a
I
made up
love that shot.
car.
But I love that shot where she's just cruising, right? That's
yeah,
such a great panel. Such a great shot when you have people just cruising with the top down.
Hmm.
Wind in the hair. I love that. That's good. I love that. Good stuff.
Yeah.
crazy Cadillac, like rally Cadillac, I guess. Awesome
Yeah.
car.
Man, that was a fun book to draw.
Oh yeah, the fight scenes are so brutal and so fun.
Every once in a while,
Love it.
like I will like because the Jump is like set in the
Yeah.
real
Oh,
world, quote unquote, but I'll miss like the fantasy of like Thunder Beast, and we'll be like, oh man, like when can I go back there when I can just make a bunch of fucking nonsense up instead of looking at buildings and whatever.
yeah.
I was
But
gonna ask, like, what was your funnest stuff to draw? And so, like, yeah, it would be Thunder Beast then. Would be your favorite one that you've worked on? Favorite one to draw so far?
yeah, it was hard like work, like, but yeah, ultimately, because Thunder Beast was kind of like I don't know, not like a midlife crisis, but it was sort of like I was like, God damn it, I want a graphic novel like that's done and complete and that people can get their hands on. And I just kind of wanted to do everything I ever wanted to do in a comic. Like I kind of
Mhm.
made Thunder Beast like thinking I was gonna die or something. But honestly, what really like happened was I had seen the cartoonist kayfabe episode where they covered this manga called Ryu, the strongest man on the face of the planet,
Mhm.
which is amazing. And like I just that comic blew my mind, and I wanted to make something that was like very very much aligned with like similar to that of that spirit of like there are just some comics you look at and you can really see that the
Mhm.
creator there's this sense of like, oh, you're like going for it. And that
Have
was
you mailed your comic into kayfabe?
I
Just
have. I mailed
okay.
Thunder Beast and the Jump
Okay.
to them, and I got an email from Jim Rugg 2 days ago that was really cool. He said that he thought the covers for the Jump were cool and that he enjoyed reading them, and that like
Nice.
I was over the moon like reading that. That
Yeah.
was very
Yeah.
kind of him to write that and take the time to look at it because I know those guys are super busy.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if they do a little episode because they did another creator that what's his name? Fudge. Pit Galacto, whatever his name is, Johnny.
Kurt Burdick.
Yeah, they did an episode of one of his books.
Oh, the Death
So
to Power, is that?
yeah.
Yeah,
I think they
awesome.
went through that one. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
that book is
hey,
so cool. I
your
had in my
stuff is
mind.
quality, so I wouldn't be surprised if they did a little episode where they do like up and coming indie guys and stuff like that. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, man, I don't know. Comics is so exciting now, like and it's really like doing a large part to the to them. I think there was like I came across that channel because of during like the summer of 2020 in the pandemic, and was like stuck inside and was like, oh wait a minute, like yeah, I guess I can just do this for a little while. I had like a little seasonal remote job and stuff, and was doing comics here and there in the meantime.
Have you ever thought of doing crowdfunding any of your books, or are you just strictly gonna like old school self-publish?
So far, old school self-publishing. I remember I still have a folder where I had like a Kickstarter for Thunder Beast, but then I kind of like gave up on it to work on other things of getting it, like basically work on getting it printed before getting a Kickstarter for it. Because I was impatient and I wanted to see what the book looked like in print for myself. God, I went through so many versions of it before it was right, because I didn't take into account how like closely they would bind the pages together. So I had to do a lot of adjusting.
Well, I'm glad you did that, because there's a lot of like big companies that don't bother, and like you're trying to read like in the middle pages and like trying to get like reading the crack of it, like it's unmanageable, man. So like, that's cool that
sometimes but man, when you pull it off, it's like amazing. Like I was like, there's that huge Stray Bullets, that Uber Alice edition that's like the brick. I remember looking through that. I was like, man, I'm really impressed with how like as thick as this thing is. Like it's a really breezy reading experience for holding a doorstop, essentially.
Yeah, toe smasher, man. What is that? All 41 issues of the original run?
I think so. I think that's about right.
Yeah, the whole El Capitan run. Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, also came super late to that. I think it was like around like 2022. I just decided, I was like, I'm gonna like read all these books that have been on my to-do list for 10 years. So I did Bone, and I did Stray Bullets, and then I did that 8-ball thing that that came out a couple years in that year.
Oh, that's right. They finally just put out the whole run of 8-ball in an omnibus, right? Because like for the longest time they just would release the strips as graphic novels.
Yeah, and there was that omnibus that was the hardcover, but that went out of print fast, and it was like became this $800 go fuck yourself kind of book.
I like the way you put that.
Yeah. Oh man, we've all been on eBay, and you're like, man, I want to just like get a copy of Domu, and then like you look at the price, and you're like, oh, okay.
It's so deflating, man. It's so deflating when you see it. You're like,
you forget what year it is, like where you're like, I remember Domu. That was in Borders back in 2000, and it was $20. I have $20. I'm an adult. And then you look on eBay and you see that listing, and you're like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about
I feel you.
Dick Tracy hardcovers. I've been like wanting to. I was like, man, like that'd be cool to read all of that comic strip, and then I was like, oh, never mind.
Yeah.
So you would say that Stray Bullets and David Lapham are inspiration for The Jump a little bit?
Only, man, it's hard that it's not. It's hard to say that it's not, but only in the sense that like the one thing like I was really like into was that his dedication to like giving himself like a set grid so that he didn't have to think about like panel layout for each page. He had that like set, and I liked that model. And like as soon as I had heard about him doing that, even before I had read that book, I thought like, wow, that's a really cool, like good idea, and wanted to do something. But I don't know. I don't want to compare myself to Dave Lapham. That guy's fucking amazing.
The way it kind of reminded me of is the way you built your world, the way like it's very lived in, and like how like outside of the apartment complex there was the two girls talking shit about the lady hitting her dog, and you had the lady hitting her dog, and like all that was what maybe would have reminded me a little bit of it.
Yeah.
is
Those
good.
characters will return, by the way. You
Yeah.
were wondering about like them coming back. They'll be back.
I figured because you gave him a couple pages, you know what I mean, and
Yeah.
I don't think you would have allotted that time, you know what I mean, because I kind of got the feeling that like every panel was precious in your storytelling of that. So like I figured if you put them at the beginning of the story, that it's definitely going to come back to them. That's cool.
And I love, like Johnny said, like in so few, like just a few characters, there's just a few pages or just a couple panels, but the way you introduce them and the way you present them, it just builds so much character and the characterization. Like in so few panels and pages, you develop these characters that they almost feel, like Johnny said, lived in or fully fleshed out, you know, like within such a minimal amount of pages. And that's where I found the jump was, for me, was super effective, and I loved it because it didn't take much for you to like the two. I'm assuming they're brothers, Joe and
Dave.
what's his Dave. I was assuming they're right.
Sorry, it broke up a little bit. Yeah, they're twins.
Twins. That's what I thought. Yeah, because they have some eyebrows, so I figured the Bert and Ernie eyebrows there. The so that's what I figured
they
they
have
were
the
brothers.
same
And
unibrow that the character Golden from Thunder Beast has. I kind of liked that look, and I thought it would be fun to incorporate it again on like a similar care of imposing guys.
And like the way you built up that relationship, where like just one gets shot and how he's just stunned and just standing there, right? And like the bullet grazes him and he doesn't move because he's just beyond himself, and just how that humanizes like a villain, right? Where like they can feel emotions, they can feel like taken by surprise, and you know, not like this indestructible force, right? Where there's a human aspect to them as well, despite how despicable they can be. There's still that human element, right? And I love how you pepper that in throughout the book, a little bit everywhere.
I think good or bad, if someone were watch their sibling get shot in the face, it'd be like a pretty horrific and like pretty rough time.
But I mean, like in another book where you have the sensibility where he's in shock, right? Where in another book, like someone might just be like, where he reacts instantly and turns into a badass and starts taking people out.
What you mean.
Yeah, where you just bring that human element where he just stands there stunned, frozen, like not reacting, like kind of the world around him kind of disappears, right? And I love the way you have these little moments all throughout the book like that I think really grounds it and really draws the reader in on that kind of aspect of the story. So I find it super effective.
Yeah, it shows like a maturity in your storytelling that like it isn't quite there for a lot of people that are supposedly pros. You know what I mean? Like I'm not lying, man. I think if you shop this around, you'd totally get published, no problem, man. Like I could see Dark Horse, I could see Oni, I could see a couple places putting this out, no problem. I mean, it's better than a lot of the books they do have out, in my opinion.
Well, fingers crossed.
Yeah, here's hoping, man. Like I hope that things go well in Connecticut and you get some eyes on this book, because I mean, everybody I know that does check it out like is over the moon for it. Like it's good comics, man. And
yeah.
I'm excited for Connecticut, man. I'm like I know that Mahdi Khan, the bootleg Spider-Man guy, is gonna be there.
Okay.
Rocco Jerome from the creator of Ghost Agents, I believe, is gonna be there. I'm looking forward to meeting him. He's been a really kind and like about my work as well. And I don't know, it's I don't know, it's gonna be interesting to be like in a room and be like who are you? I'm like, oh wait, okay, yeah, I know who you are.
Yeah, putting faces to the names kind of deal.
Is it going to be your first one as a creator going to a con?
Yeah, well, like in the sense like as like tabling and stuff. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, I gotta dig out my Square reader and make sure that thing works.
Oh yeah. Yeah, well, that's a great thing though. Now it makes things a little simpler, right?
Seriously,
get that Square thing out. Yeah. Don't have to worry about people being like, I only have $4 left in my pocket. That's all right, dude. I have the Square thing. Just tap it. Yeah. Man. So like Johnny said, Oni. What else did you say? Dark Horse. Other publishers like that would. Have you been shopping? Fantagraphics. Yeah. Have you been sending it out, or are you waiting until you have a few more issues under your belt of the Jump before shopping it around? Or
I'm gonna wait until there's a few more issues under it. I really want to finish like 3 because I think 3 is gonna be. I don't think 3 is gonna be fucking sick, Johnny. Like you're like I think it'll. I hope it'll deliver. So
That's awesome. And yeah, you seem to have a pretty good turnaround rate. So like, I'm not gonna be waiting too long. So it's gonna be good. Right on, man. And like, are you planning on putting out Jump straight from here on out, or do you have any other like little projects planned to kind of sprinkle out in between issues of the Jump?
no, it's just gonna be the
Jump.
I don't know. I feel like I would burn out if I try to do like 2 things at the same time. I kind of want like it all to go towards this.
Cool. Yeah. Nice. I mean, I don't know if you had anything else you wanted to touch on, Johnny.
Oh no, not really. I kind of got to all the questions I wanted to ask. Do you have anything you really want to shout out, Wesley, that you got coming up, or anything that you think we missed that you'd like to let people know?
No, I think we covered everything.
Yeah, you got that con in Connecticut. What's it called again?
Indie Comics Creator Con, I believe, is the name, in New Haven, Connecticut, on Saturday, March 9th.
Saturday, March 9th. So people mark that on your calendars. You have your Big Cartel shop, which is, I think, Wesley Griffith shop at Big Cartel.
Wesley Griffith shop.bigcartel.com. Yep.
.com. You could go buy all of Wesley's books there. What's your Instagram handle if people want to go follow you on socials?
For sure. It is at Wesley Griffith _.
There you go. So and you post quite a bit of stuff on socials. So you're a fun follow on socials if people want to see your work, where you're at, your stuff you're working on. You post a lot of panels up on there. So
yeah, that's a tough one. I always like debate like whether or not, I'm like, man, like how much of this stuff do I want to show before I want to show it? But I don't know. Again, then I get like the feeling of like, well, fuck, I didn't draw it for no one to see it, so like let's show a little bit of something. Oh, and I know like reading, since I did put like the Jump issue 1 and 2 for free on my Instagram, and like it's kind of fucking weird to read a comic backwards through the feed. If you want to go, like that's another reason why I started to have the Global Comics account, is so that like you can, if you want to read it for free in order, you can do that on globalcomics.com. You can just search Wesley Griffith on Global Comics and you can find my work there.
And there's a couple things on your Global Comics that I don't think are available on your Big Cartel, like Destroy All Galaxies, right? I don't think you have that available in print anymore.
Yeah, okay, so the thing about Radio Jupiter and Destroy All Galaxies, those were like really, really early pre-design school comics that I made back in 2015. And I don't know, I haven't had the heart to rescan them and like reprint them yet. There were printed versions, but like I just don't have them anymore. But I don't know, I kind of wanted to put them out there and see what people thought of them. They're
super fun. Destroy All Galaxies, man, you really nailed what you were going for, man. That kind of heavy metal European sci-fi style thing. I dug it, man. Playing with pulp era stuff again. But yeah, man, I thought totally like, yeah, heavy metal-esque sci-fi space opera. Good stuff.
So. The other one that's on there is the 1954 comic, which is I just thought it would be fun to. I'm a big Godzilla fan, so I adapted the 1954 movie into like kind of a very short, like abridged comic. It was kind of originally, the idea was like, I was like, I'm gonna do Godzilla Grand Design and But then I was like, I did the first movie, and I was like, stop, like just, I mean, I don't know, maybe one day I'll like go back and do it like the rest of the. My idea initially was to do like every Godzilla movie from 1954 to 1995 when he died in Godzilla versus Destroya, and but I did the first movie, and I was like, all right, well, you did the first one, so good enough for now. Until like, yeah, it was just one of those days where I'm like, I don't know if I want to keep doing this for something that I don't own, even though I adore that character.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun though. I liked it, man. And yeah, we're big fans of Goji here on the show. Our buddy Goose we had on last night. Yeah, his favorite thing of all year was Godzilla year. Yeah, he just said that he there's not a day that goes by where he doesn't think about not fucking Godzilla. So
like not fucking Godzilla, or but like not having sex with Godzilla.
I think that like he was saying that like there's not a day that goes by where he doesn't not think about Godzilla, but the way he said it, like it sounded like there's not a day that goes by there where he doesn't not want to fuck Godzilla. So yeah.
That's Goose. That's Goose.
Goji's
He's a character.
Yeah.
Yeah. That new movie was that was something.
Yeah. I can't wait till they release it on DVD because supposedly they're not going to stream it anywhere. It'll only be released Blu-ray. Yeah, that's what I heard. They're not going to. Yeah, they're not going to put it to any
player around here.
Or Blu-ray or whatever. So if you want to see it after,
we're only a streaming like household, unfortunately. Like because there are like some things like I don't know, like sometimes there's only like physical media that you want to watch, and we can't. I don't know, but we can. Like we just need to buy a fucking DVD player. So
yeah.
Well, hopefully, when they release it, they'll do the two versions because they re-released it in black and white, right? So hopefully, when they release it, they'll do the Blu-ray with the color and the black and white, so you could watch both versions.
I really wanted to see the black and white one, and I missed out on it. And like, because I wanted a redemption viewing of it, because I saw it and I liked it, but I had a really shitty like theater experience of it because next door to the theater I went to, there was an IMAX screening of the Beyonce concert movie, and the bass for that movie was like blasting through the theater and like shaking the walls, and I was like, man, this is like really ruining my time with Godzilla right now. And yeah, I don't know. So I want to watch that movie like
is it still running? Because they re-released it in black and white, so it got kind of like a second run through, but with the black and white version.
I want to say that was only like a week though.
Yeah.
I don't think it's in theaters anymore, but like I don't think it's out on DVD because like I've been on the lookout because I haven't got to see it yet.
I'm glad that it ran in theaters for as long as it did. Like I remember last year, even when like Shin Ultraman and Shin Kamen Rider came out, they were like gone. They were Fathom events. Like it was like one of those things like one night only nerds, and then that's it. Like yeah.
Well, yeah, they did.
But I think
when Shin Godzilla came out in 2016, like it barely got a theatrical run too,
which is a shame because that movie is so good.
Yeah, I mean, like I haven't seen -1 yet, so Shin Godzilla is still my favorite one. But like, yeah, it's that good that like it replaced like.
I have a controversial opinion. I like Shin Godzilla a lot more than -1, but I recognize -1 being a really good movie.
Gotcha. But yeah, Shin Godzilla was so different because it's so much about like the board meetings and like the actual councils getting together.
I can understand why someone would hate it too.
Yeah. But I mean, it was just such a different take on it that I was like, okay, this is pretty fun. I kind of enjoyed like the kind of slice of life Godzilla movie. They did it a lot better than the Americans did with the 2014 Godzilla movie. I'm not a fan of the character. Amen.
But I think what's so great about it is like kind of back to roots where you don't have a bloated budget, so you got to get creative. And find very creative solutions to how you want to present, let's say, Godzilla, or so it just becomes a fun experience just for how they get around the budget, right? Like,
yeah,
like what -1 was what, a budget of 15 million?
I'm not sure.
I think it was something like that. Like it was 15 or 25 million, somewhere in between 15 and 25 million. And look at the traction it got in theaters. Like it's
Yeah.
crazy. Like everybody was going to see it. I don't know what the final count was globally, what the box office was, but I'm sure that movie must have.
It made a shit ton of money, and like, I
Yeah.
don't know, it surprises me in a way. I was like that it was so like successful. I don't know. It's cool. It reminds me of like things like that where I was like, oh wow, like we live in a lot different world than we did 10, 15 years ago. Like 2 years ago when like Squid Game was on Netflix and everybody was going crazy for it, and I was like, wow, this is interesting. Like this number one show in America right now is like this like Korean show. That never would have happened like way back when. And I don't know, it was cool. It's cool that like there is like a Western audience that is like appreciative of like a international like property like that, and that it's like not only an interest, like it's like a booming success, which is super rad.
Yeah, it's fun.
And critically loved too, not just like fans liking it. That like actual like the hoity-toity highbrows are like it's good. Right. Too, yeah.
A good friend of mine said this thing. He like I saw it on like an Instagram story. He was talking about Godzilla -1, and he goes like, "This is the Godzilla movie for normies," which I thought was I don't know. I thought that was pretty funny.
It does seem like a lot of general audience people seem to really like this one though. So like I'm not seeing it. Like I can kind of see where somebody could say that about it because like
it's I had that feeling watching it, like kind of thing. I was like, oh, like I can see the strategy behind like this movie's script and the way that it was made for where they were. I don't know. I wonder if there was a meeting at Toho and they were like, we want to make a shit ton of money. Make sure you make a movie that everyone is going to like go.
At least they were able to nail it. Warner Brothers been trying for the past 4 movies. They haven't got it out the gate yet. So
yeah, I kind of liked Godzilla King of the Monsters. I kind of appreciated like they had me with getting like I love that they used like the original music in parts. That was huge. I was like, finally, thank you. Like it's like finally someone like realized that like the music of these movies is like one of the most like critical like parts of it. And then Kong versus Godzilla, I don't know. I like watched like and like took an edible at my like and like watched it, and I was like, this is fun, I guess.
Yeah, I thought it was funny that like King Kong had to get like a Soul Calibur weapon to be able to fight Godzilla.
I liked all the stuff in that movie that was like the Skarsgård guy and their journey to the center of the earth journey. But then all the stuff with Millie Bobby Brown and the podcaster, that was really stupid. Like you could have cut all that out.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the journey to the center of the earth because it kind of reminded me of like the 1970s Godzilla movies with the goofy scientist stuff that was always.
Yeah. It's really funny. I was talking to a friend about how like it's funny that like the American Godzilla movies are kind of embracing this like they're like the Godzilla movies of the 70s now, where they're like going full wacky. Like these are kind of like movies for kids, and Japan is like making these like austere like Godzilla films for like adults, really.
Yeah, I'm halfway surprised Jaguar didn't show up on Monarch, man. Like
man,
the show would totally win me over if they would have had Jet Jaguar show up on there.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, give me Jet Jaguar and give me fucking Hedorah.
Yeah. Angoris, anybody, man. Like, quit making up crappy monsters and just give us some of the old Toho ones, man.
That is such like a big like sin for those Warner Brothers movies. And I think it's honestly like a rights thing. I think whatever deal they got was because like, yeah, you can have Godzilla and you can have Mothra and you can have King Ghidorah and Rodan, and that's it. Like you don't get to make a better Hedorah movie than we do.
Yeah. And probably like the merchandising aspect to it too. Like,
100%,
you know, they want to, you know, if we create a new character that's just our property, then all the merchandising goes all to us. We don't
Right.
have to
From
pay
their
royalties.
perspective, it's, if we were to do like the Western equivalent, it's, I don't know. I'm sure it's like a pain in the ass whenever one of those, there's, I don't know, whatever that the gaming company that owns like, what is the Disney game? I'm not really up for
Kingdom Hearts.
Kingdom Hearts. Whenever like that
Yeah.
company wants to be like, hey, can we borrow Donald Duck for like a little bit?
Eh.
Yeah, you can, but you gotta pay and fill out all
Mm.
this paperwork and figure out all that stuff. So
Yeah. 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 Yeah, for sure. Well, isn't Mickey Mouse now? Isn't that the original Steamboat Willie? Isn't that public domain now?
Yeah, you can draw just without the white gloves, and you right. You got to draw them with the
Yeah.
black hands and stuff.
I've seen a lot of people reproducing a lot of stuff on that now.
yeah,
So
I've seen a lot of Mickey Mouse stuff
and,
on Instagram and stuff here and there.
yeah, because I think just this fall it became public domain, right? After 100 years, it becomes public domain. I think
So is
that's
it going
the
to
law.
remain public domain, or is Disney going to like try and get it back, or?
I don't know. They were discussing it on a podcast, all the legal aspects of it, because that was coming up, right? Steamboat Willie was coming up. Like that's usually after 100 years, public domain. Like all the Grimm tales and all that stuff. That's all public domain now. All these things because it's so old, right? So like that was a huge discussion. Will Disney actually allow this, or will they try to put pressure to change laws so that it can't become public domain so they can retain it? And there was a whole discussion on, I can't remember what podcast it was I was listening to, and they really dove into it and were wondering how that was all going to play out. And
Right.
I don't know what the outcome will be in the end, but right now people are jumping on it as quickly as they can before maybe
Right.
Disney puts the axe to it. Like maybe they have sent out cease and desist emails to
It
tons of
depends.
people that they see online. I don't know.
Well, they
Yeah,
got
I feel like it's like one of those things where I'm like, man, I don't know if I'd be like jumping right away to be making like a Mickey Mouse comic until like you knew absolutely like that you could. But I don't know. Then again, fuck it, make your Mickey Mouse comic also.
Well, I mean, like, isn't that like one of the oldest self-published comic stories about the guys that did that Sky Pirates comic, and like Disney pulled their card? Like in the 1960s, they did like a comic with Mickey Mouse and
Yeah, I was okay. So this has also been like part of this whole discussion is the Air Pirates comic. Does that mean that can come back into print if they wanted to?
I think it depends on how you draw Mickey, because like in Steamboat Willie, he was completely black and white. You can't have him in the red shorts. You can't have him with the white gloves. I think you got to have him with the sailor hat on. I'm not sure exactly like what all the criteria is for being able to use the Steamboat Willie, but I know they have a horror video game that's coming out, and they got a Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey Mickey Mouse horror movie that's coming out later this year. So I know that like at least all the shit people were able to get away with Winnie the Pooh, they're also doing with the Steamboat Willie Mickey Mouse right now.
Gotcha. So, oh, Winnie the Pooh became public domain also?
I think like 2 years ago when they made that first horror movie, and then like now Tigger's in public domain. And that's why they're doing the second one, and Tigger's going to be in this new one. I
Awesome.
guess it looks terrible, but I'll probably watch. I watched the first one. It was special.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how busy you are, but I just want to say thanks for coming on. Man, congratulations on the book. Johnny and I both loved it. Johnny, as soon as he saw it, he put me onto it. He's like, you got to read this as soon as possible, and read it. Loved it. Then I went through some of your stuff. Loved all your other stuff too. And man, I hope... I think you just have great things coming. You're a great cartoonist, and I hope a lot of people start checking your stuff out because you deserve all the praise and attention. Your work deserves it very much so.
I agree.
Well, thank you both for having me on. It's been really awesome being here.
It's our pleasure.
So yeah, man, people keep your eyes peeled for issue 3 of The Jump. It should probably be available. I'd say around September at the latest, huh, Wesley?
Hopefully. Yeah, hopefully before then.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to give like you a crazy timeline, but like I figured that would be fair.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, yeah, I wish I had a solid answer. I feel like a dummy like not having one, but yeah, like it's coming.
well,
Hell
I
or
mean,
high water.
you're a working man. You're doing this for the fun
Mhm.
and to entertain us, man. So I can't you know rake you over the coals for anything, man. Like you're the gangster, man. You're doing us the service. So whenever it comes out, like it'll be appreciated, and we appreciate all you've done, man. Like you have like a really strong little body of work already, and it all speaks for itself, man. I really highly recommend anybody and everybody check any bit of it out. They'll be blown away. So yeah, Wesley Griffith. Keep your eyes out for this name. Check him out in Connecticut if you're there later on this year at the con. And yeah, man, hit up his big cartel. I got the link in the description. I posted it in the chat twice, and it's actually not really that hard to find. Wesley Griffith shop at Big Cartel. Um, and yeah, man, get yourself some Jump, get yourself some Thunder Beast. You'll thank yourself, man. They're both so much fun to read, man. Great sense of humor all the way through it, man. You'll be cracking up. Good jokes, good characters, good spot gags. I mean, all of it, man. It's just high functioning, really well made indie comics, indie story.
Well, I'm glad you guys dig the work, and I really appreciate you guys having me on.
Well,
Right.
hopefully by the time the jump is said and done, you'll be doing this full time. No more day job. So yeah.
And here's
Yeah,
hoping
man.
to 10 issues, man. That sounds like a nice run, dude. Hell yeah.
That's the goal.
All right. So we're not sure what we'll be doing later on this week. We'll probably have something for you. We'll probably might be doing an episode with L2. I don't know what she's got planned, but yeah, we'll definitely have something later this week. But until then, you guys take it easy. All right. Have a good one.